We'll be analyzing the designer Richard Finkelstein in three of his plays, Dracula, Our Country's Good, and Hamlet. Stated by Richard himself, the set of Dracula is a metaphor for his mind and emotions. The stage is relatively small and doesn't change much, and the backdrop is a screen. He uses lighting on the abstract background to set the atmosphere, as well as for symbolism, which I'll talk about later. The furniture has a gospel look, which may indicate religious influence or presence. The set for Hamlet is a metaphor for the consequences the actions of the past have on the present, and how everything is interconnected. The background represents this theme as the metal rods interlock with each other. Because of the structure in metal, the set has a futuristic look, which ties into the theme as well, which is most likely a social message. Our Country's Good setting is more realistic, which gives context to the play and represents the 18th century time period. This conflicts with the obviously fake-looking screens with clouds projected on them in the background. This makes for an interesting style of set. I will now talk about the elements of design. In terms of light, I thought that Dracula and Hamlet are two plays that use line very efficiently, but in completely contrasting ways. The use of structured and interconnecting lines represent the aforementioned theme in Hamlet and creates a very structural set. On the other hand, the lines in the background of Dracula are completely chaotic and to me represent veins. The cracked-looking lines add to the creepy atmosphere and create a more chaotic environment. I think that the Hamlet set takes a very interesting shape. The framing of the stage focuses the action on the center, while there are also a lot of circles and ovals cut out in the design so that the environment does not feel too harsh. In Hamlet, the background that connects to the stage is extremely light dependent, and each light creates different emotions for the different scenes, and in some cases even patterns. Similarly, the back screen in Dracula is also very light reflective, and they play with colors to create different atmospheres and emotions, supposedly to represent his mind. Two contrasting sets that effectively use texture are Our Country's Good and Hamlet. The texture of the framings in Hamlet feels like metal and creates a more futuristic and even lonely atmosphere, while Our Country's Good has rocky and grainy texture for the majority of the props and flooring. This creates a more aggressive environment, but also creates a more realistic-looking set. In terms of space, there is relatively even negative to positive space in Dracula. Multi-dimensional space is also used to build up the scenery. However, in Hamlet, besides the background, the whole stage is negative space. This allows the audience to focus on the actions and the patterns that are produced with the light. For principles of design, all three of the sets are asymmetrical to some extent, but they are all still balanced, which shows that as a designer, he doesn't necessarily emphasize things with imbalance in the set. For harmony, although there are a lot of colors and things going on in Our Country's Good, there's also a sense of harmony and coherency with the props, as they all fit into the setting in terms of color, placement, and so on. Nothing in particular seems out of place. The set of Dracula is less harmonious, as each prop seems to stand out on its own and doesn't seem to have any significant relationship to another. The colors conflict and there's no real sense of coherency. This creates a slight tint of anxiety in the atmosphere. In terms of emphasis, in Dracula there's a definite emphasis on the bed, which is also a key symbol to the story. It is on a higher level and right in center stage, as well as very white compared to the background. In Our Country's Good, there is an emphasis on the middle screen, which constantly displays a photo of Australia, which is a key symbol to the story. Things I can apply from my research is that unity and harmony doesn't necessarily mean that I can't emphasize something. I also really like how he often focuses on using the background and color to show emotions in the scene.